Hello, one and all, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm your host, Mikko Kurki, and today we'll be discussing, does finance need a dedicated BI tool? Finance team members are often the main users of BI in organizations, but nevertheless, the most common BI solutions in the market don't really speak their language due to their inherent technical nature and functionalities that are designed to meet the needs of a data analyst rather than the needs of a controller. Finance professionals are often keen to find the export to Excel button inside their BI solution as their first order of business, and they often regard this functionality as their favorite part of the BI tool. Forecasts and budgets are also close to the heart of finance professionals, and they often wish that BI could assist them in that area as well, but that's sadly not the case. Companies have actually tried to come up with different ways to tackle these issues, and today we have two guests from Orthex, and we get to hear their experiences on BI. So our guests today are CFO Saara Mäkelä and Group Business Controller Johanna Tenhunen. They'll share their experiences on BI, especially from the finance point of view, and you also get to hear how Staria BI planning has become the main tool for Orthex's finance department. What you'll be hearing in the next 30 minutes is first a few words about Staria and Orthex in general. That is followed by a short presentation on our BI planning solution. And in the end, we have also reserved some time for a Q&A session. So do feel free to submit questions already at this stage, and throughout the webinar, we'll try to cover as many questions as we can. But let's kick things off. Firstly, about Staria. So we are a tech-enabled financial services company, and we assist companies in all stages of growth. We provide the right tools, talent, operations, and the mindset so our customers will have a future-proof platform which enables their growth without borders. Staria has 12 offices across Europe, and last year our turnover was 37 million euros. We aim to be a trusted navigator of growth, and for that speaks our long-term customer relationships as well as our motivated staff that really enjoys working at Staria. As for our webinar guest, Orthex is one of the leading Nordic household product manufacturers, and they offer a broad assortment of practical and durable household products. Orthex also aims to be the industry leader in sustainability, and they are actually going for carbon neutrality in their production by 2030. Orthex's net sales last year were 84 million euros in total, and the company has customers in more than 40 countries and sales organizations in the Nordics, as well as in Germany, France, and in the UK. So that's the company introductions done. Let's move on to the discussion next. Hello once again, Saara and Johanna, and welcome to today's webinar. Glad to have you with us. I thought I'd start by asking about your prior experiences on BI. What sort of systems have you been using during your career, and what has been your user experience like?
We both have been working in a big international companies before, so we've been using quite wide selection of different kind of BI tools. If I mention some, ClickView, ClickSense, Business Warehouse, Cognos is one of the tools which we both have been using at least.
Yeah, and Hyperion is also one of those.
Yeah, so we've been quite widely using different kind of tools and know the benefits and what we want from the tool.
Yeah, and bigger companies are having their own company-specific reporting tools as well. So.
Indeed. Did you experience any limitations or pain points whilst using those solutions?
Yeah, I think one thing is that if you're a big company, you kind of have dedicated resources. Just taking care of the BI that it's working and take care of the project when it's launched and all. But in a smaller companies, you don't have all that kind of resources. So our worry in the beginning was that we had to find a solution which is not that sort of intensive. It doesn't require that much work from the company side. And in general, the flexibility of the tools. Sometimes you need to hire consultants and start a big project if you want to just do some reporting changes. If you want to add percentages or some calculated measures, you might need to launch a product. And it might happen that you don't do it. I mean, instead you take the reports to Excel and do the calculation there. And then it's again, risk of errors is higher, of course.
Indeed. But, then in terms of BI generally, what topics have been especially important to you as finance professionals, and how have those been addressed in the BI planning solution that Staria is providing to you?
Well, if we start as a background information for you, so when I started working at Orthex, we did both internal and external reporting in Excels. So basically we took the data from our ERP system with SQL queries. Then we enriched the data with Access program. So it was very manual and time consuming. And of course there was also risk of manual errors, as we are having different companies, different currencies, intercompany eliminations and currency differences. There was risk of manual errors always.
Yeah, and if somebody was sick, reports were not ready. So I think that was one of the big things. When the times were busy and during the closing or budgeting time, there's really a lot to do, and we had to wait. And some of us might have spent some evenings preparing a lot of Excel sheets.
Yeah,
indeed. So what would you say are the definite key functionalities that have been implemented in your environment?
We have all basic reporting, like monthly reporting, quarterly reporting. You can see the monthly phasing, for example, and then there's a lot of comparison between different periods. You can have a longer term view. Then we have the budgeting and the planning. So we do estimates on a regular basis, and those are prepared in a BI tool. It's quite easy because you can copy the data and you can multiply with the certain percentages. And so there's easy functions to do the base for the business to do the estimates, for example.
Yeah, and then, for example, customer profitability reports we have in Staria BI. Also, and then we are doing different kind of allocations in Staria BI as well, and those are mainly related to pick and pack or freight allocations. So we are doing these allocations on customer level, and we don't want to do those in accounting. So in accounting we have the data on account and cost center level, but then in Staria BI we are doing those on customer level.
Yeah.
And then it's easier to analyze customer profitability reports.
Yeah, then we also have companies where the accounting is outsourced, like in UK, Germany and France. There are external accounting companies who is doing the monthly closing for us, and they are using their own systems and their own charts of accounts. So we have an easy way to import the data with a CSV file to Staria BI, and then we can map the accounting to match our chart of accounts. So it's a lot easier to compare the data when the format is exactly the same as it's in other companies and the chart of accounts is same as well. So I think that's one quite big benefit.
Yeah.
And then we can use the data in group consolidation.
Yeah. And then in case we would have some kind of, for example, organizational changes, we can do some changes and corrections for historical periods also in BI tool. So of course we cannot change historical figures in accounting, but in reporting we can do those, and that will be, then the reporting will be easier for us.
Indeed. So clearly your existing BI solution has been able to help you with your international business and tackle the challenges that presents. Well, another thing that describes Orthex naturally is that you're a listed company. what requirements does that pose to your BI solution?
Of course, the data has to be accurate and in time, so we can't wait hours or days to get the data loaded. So for us, the data is uploaded to the BI system 4 times an hour. So it's really, up to date all the time. And then, most of the KPIs are inside the information. So, like basic turnover is something what we can't tell openly to everybody in the company. So it's really important that we can limit the access. So we can set limitation that if you own certain cost center and you're responsible for a certain business unit, you see only data related to that business unit. So that's something what is very important for us to be able to limit the access and what kind of a data everybody sees in the system.
And also one important thing is that we have quite tight schedules at the quarter end and month end. So we don't have time to wait for support for many days. So it's very good that we have like dedicated person who to contact in case we have some issues in reporting or things like that.
Indeed. Well, yeah. You actually have other BI solutions also in place within Orthex, but what would you say are the main benefits and differentiators of Staria BI and planning compared to those other solutions?
One sort of big positive thing is the flexibility. We can internally use the system and build the reports. We know the data and we own the data. So we don't always have to start a big project. We can have a chit-chat together and discuss what kind of measures we would like to add to reporting. We can do the changes ourselves and then we can launch it to everybody in the organization. So it's quite easy to use and then you're quite independent with the system. And on the other hand, and in case you're in a hurry and you have a lot to do and you don't have time to do the modification, you can contact the consultant and ask for support. So I think it's important that we can basically both save and eat the cake. So we can either do it ourselves, or in case we don't have time for that, we can call a consultant and have a workshop to get things done easily.
Yeah. I was also thinking that the user friendliness is very good thing with Staria BI tool, and then also that it doesn't require that massive training sessions when people in different organizations are using the system. So it's quite easy to use.
Yeah, we have been able to build dashboards. So for example, operations have their own dashboard and marketing, for example. So in the one place they have easy access to all the reports in the format what they should look at. So I think that makes it very easy and simple for them to analyze and own their figures.
Yeah. And we have been using Staria BI now like 5 years. And in the beginning, it was mainly tool for finance organization. But nowadays, more and more people in other parts of the organizations are also using this system. So basically, we have, for example, operations and logistics and warehouse. Marketing organization is using and sales. Key account managers are using reports from Hoopia directly. They know how to use the reports and they can review the customer profitability reports and analyze their own figures over there. So we are not generating the reports anymore, but they are using the reports by themselves. And of course, then we are supporting them and having like monthly meetings to go through the figures, but we are not kind of system or report generators anymore in the finance organization. So that's one good thing also.
One quite nice thing is that you can easily have reports in different FX rates. So we have several FX rates in a group. So if somebody wants to look at the cost in local currency, that's easy, and then you can look at it in the group currency, and we have possibilities to look at the figures in budget currency, for example. So that you don't get mixed with the different FX rates. So there's a lot of that kind of possibilities as well. And we are able to look at the reports also in the original invoicing currency. So even like in Sweden, the accounting group currency there is Swedish crown, but we can get the data how much they have been purchasing in euros. So a lot of detailed FX rate analysis is possible to prepare in Staria BI.
There's been some time since the implementation, but what are your memories about that time? What was the implementation and onboarding process like?
I think it was quite, easy and quick. It was more like a workshop together with the consultant. So we sat down and we did lot of things together, and I think we learned a lot during the process. We learned how to use the tool. And
yeah, we had few dedicated persons who to contact and with whom to work in that project. And basically we knew all the rules and technical issues behind, so that's also very important, so that we know how the data is flowing from our ERP system to Hubia.
Yeah, and we built the first sort of specific reports together with the consultant, and that helped us a lot. And we are able to do them by ourselves nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like couple of intensive months to get it up and running, and then the system has been growing a lot with us. So all the time when we find out new reporting needs, we've been contacting Staria, and then we get the support, and we can modify and add data from the system as well.
Yeah, and I think that we have been thinking that our opinions matter. So always, if we have some questions or improvement ideas, those have been taken seriously. Also.
Yeah, it's nice. We get the regular updates. And then the improvement ideas are taken into account by BI provider.
That's really great. But finally, what is your take on the big question of today? Would you say that finance department has benefited from a dedicated BI solution?
Well, it would be hard to even think to live without the system nowadays. I can imagine how we survived, to be honest. We spend so much more time on analyzing and supporting really business instead of sitting in front of the computer and double checking that Excels are okay and everything is matching. So it has changed our role quite much, I would say.
Yeah, the value adding thing is very significant. So we can concentrate on things that really matters, and we can support business better than earlier before doing the reports in Excels.
Good stuff. Thank you, Sara and Johanna, for this discussion. And now it's time to take a look at the solution itself in practice. So let's move on to the demo. So, firstly, an overview to Staria BI planning. It is a powerful and scalable tool that actually combines extensive BI and planning capabilities on the same cloud platform. You're able to import data from all data sources, and the solution actually allows you to both operational and financial reporting. All the content can be actually tailored to meet the customer needs, either with our assistance, or you can do that 100% independently. But yeah, let's just move on to the user interface itself. And here we go. This is the standard template that you'll get access right away if you start using Staria BI planning. Right at the get-go, you see our focus on finance through our comprehensive standard content, which actually contains P&Ls, balance sheets, cash flow reports, as well as, for example, information regarding accounts receivable. All content can be edited straight through the user interface, like so. So absolutely zero coding is required. And already here, under the data model measures, you can see terms familiar to finance, stuff like cumulative actuals, peer actuals, and comparisons to previous year or to your budget. The same applies naturally to your dimensions. And for example, here another familiar term, reporting period, and fiscal year period. All things important to finance and familiar terms. Users are actually able to drill through or drill down on any data point. So let me select a single month here, just to demo. And we are naturally supporting a transactional level drill down view, but again, this is pretty basic stuff these days, and naturally we weren't 100% happy with this alone, so we decided to come up with more advanced enterprise level features as default functionalities that you get out of the box. One example of such functionalities is the explain change functionality that actually allows you to see automatically the top 5 reasons that are actually behind a change in this period compared to, for example, a previous period or to previous year numbers. So let's take a look what that means in practice. So compared to January 2022, our turnover has changed over 3 million, and the change is actually coming from these customers, these customer groups, from these companies, and from these cost centers. So already you're getting some analysis automatically that should make your life a little bit easier. And naturally, this whole view would reflect your own data, your own dimensions when you start using the solution. All the insights that you made regarding your numbers, you can attach as comments to chat groups, and you can ask other users on the platform to comment them. Here I have a previous finding that I actually wrote down. Look what I found. And other users are actually able to see my finding with a single click of a button. They see exactly the same view that I had with exactly the same filters, and the area where I want them to view has been highlighted over here. This makes conversations on financials really, really easy and effective. You're able to create different workspaces for different user groups, and naturally you get to decide the content of these workspaces so that it suits the end users. So you can have one workspace for finance team, for example, then another one for your management group, and then a third one, for example, for HR. You can restrict user access extremely effectively so that you can make 100% sure that they see only content that they're actually allowed to see. Budgeting and forecasting is naturally available on the same platform as we've hinted earlier. So here under planning, you're able to create different planning models. And all the numbers that you enter inside these planning models will be reflected in reporting immediately. So that's the whole beauty behind having both reporting and planning on the same platform. So no additional data transfers needed whatsoever. You're also able to take copies of your forecasts, which allows you to make an easy transition to rolling forecasts, as well as it allows you to do scenario modeling. You just create a new version and create your scenarios, and you can actually compare those scenarios in reporting against your actuals or your previous forecast versions. Then finally, I want to highlight our workflows functionality, which again goes to show our love for finance. What this function does is it allows you to actually model recurring reporting or planning processes on the platform. So here we have an example of a monthly P&L review process that actually contains predefined steps for a user to follow. And each step can contain instructions or questions to the user that the user must answer. Here we can see an example of that. And then business management or financial management can actually follow the progress of these processes, and they also get to see a compiled view of all the different answers provided by the business users. So this really helps to prepare, let's say, for business review meetings or gathering data or comments for board reporting. But those were the key functionalities of Staria BI planning in a nutshell. And now it's time to move on to go through your questions in our Q&A session. Right. So let's take a look. What have we here? Let me just open the dialog box. We'll see all the questions. So first things first, there's a question about source systems requirements. Well, I can take this first question. So I wouldn't say that there are any restrictions when it comes to source systems. Naturally, we are providing many out-of-the-box integrations, for example, for the most common ERPs, such as NetSuite, or the most common accounting software. But generally speaking, we haven't had any issues importing data from all the different data sources in our previous customer cases. So preferably, we like to use APIs, but naturally we can import data in many other ways as well. CSV imports are, of course, supported. Then another question that I can also answer is where is the data located? So right now, all of our servers are located here in Finland, Helsinki, Finland. So the data will always remain within the EU space. All right, then a question over to you, Team Orthex. So you actually referred to this already during the discussion, but what other BI tools do you have in place? And what specific need do these other BI solutions suit? Of what are they providing that Staria BI Planning is not able to provide?
Well, maybe the reason why we have other BI tools is not that Staria BI couldn't provide those functionalities, but we've been building our BI package a bit, sort of bit by bit. So we started with the sales reporting, and we had another tool, and it's been working quite okay, and people have been used to using it. So we have decided not to at least now take it to Staria. And then we have a specific consolidation tool as well. We have also launched it before Staria had a possibility to do the group consolidation. It's been working nicely, and so I mean, it's not the reason that Staria couldn't do it, but we have been building it piece by piece and haven't decided yet to use only one tool, and we don't see it as a problem.
Right. Then you already mentioned that you're a listed company. How are you actually utilizing Staria BM Planning in terms of those releases that you actually make into the market and stuff like that?
It's the base for all the data. So accounting is in ERP system, and all the analysis and all the reports are taken from the Staria BI tool. So I would say that it's a base for all the data.
Yeah.
In all the analysis which are related to finance area.
Right. But hey, those were all the questions that were submitted so far. And as a final note, I want to actually leave the audience with a webinar offer. So right now we're actually offering you a basic implementation for free until the end of May. So do contact me if there's something that interests you. And our next webinar for the spring is actually coming up already during next week. And we are actually doing that with our partner Flowcast, and they are actually thinking about their automation solution that actually provides faster and more precise month-end closings. And our customer Relex will also be joining. So please check that webinar out as well. But hey, thank you again, Sara and Johanna, and thank you also for the audience. I wish you a good day.
Thank you.